Hey guys, this is App Reviewer. Today we'll be taking a look at the SGP Neo Hybrid for the Samsung Galaxy S3. This particular model is a color series, but you can also pick up the Lumi series. And the main differences are basically you'll find that the TPU on the color series is a little bit darker. This is sort of a purplish blue, whereas on the Lumi series it'll be a gray tone. And also the plastic bumper will be a little bit different. Here they have some muted colors, whereas on the Lumi series you'll find some bright colors such as blue and green. So let's set this aside and take a look at the packaging. You can see here it is. The case retails for $26.99, so it's definitely a little bit more expensive than some other cases, but you can tell right away from the packaging it's a high quality product, and you do get an included screen protector. So if we open it up, you're presented with the case itself. Let's set that aside. And then within here, as I mentioned, you will get a little goodie pack. So you'll find an ultra crystal screen protector, which is right here. Nice screen protector. I've used it in the past. I really do like these. You'll also get a little serial number with authentication. It's an official SGP product. You'll get a microfiber, and finally a little pamphlet with some other SGP products in it. So setting this aside, let's take a look at the case itself right here. So this is a hybrid stock case. It features this TPU layer right here, and then it has a plastic bumper all around. So the TPU will give you some good shock absorption, and the bumper will provide some good rigidity, so the sides won't really stray. You'll find that it just stays nice and locked on your phone. So what I'm going to do now is just install it on the phone and show you how it fits and feels. So due to the nature of this being a hybrid stock case, it will naturally be more difficult to install than if it was a single piece case, because first you got to get the TPU on and then the plastic frame. So I quickly want to mention that at first you'll notice this is extremely flimsy and thin, but don't worry about that, because once you pair it up with the TPU, it will become very robust feeling and it'll give you a nice sort of tight feel around it. So no worries on that part. You can see for installing it, you've got a couple notches down right here around the plastic, and those correspond with these little gaps on the TPU, so they will lock in there and provide a nice form-fitting design. So what you want to do first is just install the TPU on the S3 and then work your way around with the plastic bumper. I like to start off through the top and then just work your way around the corners, make sure everything lines up into place. And once you got it in place, you'll find that it just basically sits and just corresponds exactly where it's supposed to, thanks to those little notches. So as you can see, that's how you install it. You get a nice tight fitting form factor all around. So on the back you've got a very smooth material, Spigen logo right down here in a glossy contrasting pattern. Now it's smooth, but it's not very grippy, and at the same time it's not going to be slippery, so it's a very neutral feel. It's hard to explain it, but once you do feel it, it is very nice overall, so not too bad on that part. You can see the cutouts are actually super good on this. The LED flash, the camera, and the speaker are super spot on, precise. Great job by SGP. Same thing goes for the top. You can see the headphone jack, very precise. You can see the secondary microphone, nice cutout there. On the bottom, once again, you've got a very ample, but at the same time, nice cutout for the micro USB charger, and then your main microphone is cut out perfectly. On the left-hand side, you've got a covering. This is a TPU nub for your volume rockers. They're actually very responsive and easy to press. I love the way these feel. You get a nice clickiness out of them, but the same thing can't be said for the power button. It's very mushy, and it's a little bit more difficult to press than it, but you will find that over time it sort of works in there. So I'm not very impressed with the power button, but for the most part, all the other ports and cutouts have been terrific. Since SGP sells two different models of this design, the Lumi series and the color series, you'll get a lot of color choices to choose from. So there'll be something out there if you want something very muted and plain, or if you want something that just screams brightness. They will have a color combination that you'll like, which is good. Now, you can see from this side profile, it is a nice thin form factor overall, so it makes it very comfortable to hold in the hand, doesn't add too much weight. At the same time, that smooth backing is good because one, it doesn't pick up any lint or dust, and at the same time, you can slide it in and out of the pocket very easily. It'll just slide in there super smoothly, no problems with that whatsoever. The main part that I'm a big fan of is the fact that the hybrid design offers some pretty good protection. Now, that is mostly scratch protection. You got the back and the sides covered. Drop protection is a little bit minimal. I probably wouldn't drop this from a considerable height because I would be afraid, but a little bump or a drop is not too bad overall. You'll find that the TPU offers some good shock absorption. The material itself is naturally shock absorbing, and then what the plastic bumper does is it gives it some good rigidity. Now, some cases actually tend to bow out towards the sides. This one's actually pretty rigid because of the reinforcement with the plastic, and you'll find that no dust will accumulate on the sides because it has nowhere to go. You can just flick that off naturally. Now, a big problem with the Galaxy Nexus model was the fact that over time, this backing used to sag, and that was because it was a silicone backing. In this case, SGP has remedied that, and now they use a TPU backing, which is fantastic. And finally, I'm a big fan of the high quality look and feel. You can definitely tell this is a $27 case because you get perfect cutouts. The fit and finish is fantastic on it, and for the most part, I'm very pleased with the case. As good as the case is, it doesn't come without its shortcomings, and I do want to point those out to you. Now, number one is the fact that it is on the more expensive side of cases. It is 27 bucks, so at that price point you can definitely buy 2 or 3 Distronic TPU cases and you'll probably get the same amount of protection, just it won't look as cool and as high quality. But for the most part, it's a little bit more expensive to pay than other cases, but you are paying for a high quality product, and at the same time you do get a very good screen shield. Number two is the fact that it's not robust enough to provide very good protection. So what you'll find is scratch protection, you're covered. No problems with that. You got the screen covered in your sides. But as I mentioned before, this is mostly for minimal drops and for scratch protection. So if you drop this from a considerable height, maybe about waist or maybe about a table height, you might find that the screen will crack or you get some damage on it, just because for the most part the material is very thin on the back, and on the side there's not much reinforcement just because that plastic is thin. So I just wanted to point that out. And finally, the biggest con for me personally is the fact that the case is difficult to take off, and at times it tends to pop my back cover off. So what you have to do is just try to pry it off through a corner and then just apply a little bit of pressure, and as you remove it you'll find that it will pop your back cover off, as you can see. So if I were to remove this right now, the whole back cover comes off. So what you got to do then is just work the plastic around, just try to pop that off. So, and once you get that off, you'll find that then you can dig and pull your back cover off. So it is a little bit of annoyance. I don't really take it out that often, but when you do, you'll find that the back cover pops off and it takes a little bit more time than you want it to. So just wanted to point those out quickly. Now overall, I have to say that I'm very pleased with the SGP Neo Hybrid for the Samsung Galaxy S3, and I've used the iPhone model, the S2 model, and also the Galaxy Nexus model, and apart from the little bit of sagging I had on the Nexus model, this case has been very reliable, and I still have some of them in my closet sitting around. So if you need a case that's very protected, this is probably not the way to go, but for the average consumer, this is a very good case. You'll find that it's pretty thin, it gives you a nice comfortable feel on it. All the ports and the cutouts are spot on, and it offers just that right amount of protection for the average person. So if you don't really need drop protection, this is a good way to go. At $26.99, like I mentioned, it's a little bit more expensive than most cases out there, but you're paying for a high quality product, and SGP always delivers, and they've done that in this case. So if you're interested, you can pick it up on the SGP website, which is www.spigen.com. It's mentioned 27 bucks, and it comes in about 8 different color models. So thanks a lot for watching, guys, and stay tuned for more. Cheers.